Hey, do you girls have any plans tomorrow night? Jack called out, trying to sound casual, while his heart hammered against his ribs. Janet Wood emerged from her bedroom, her sensible bob perfectly in place, carrying a stack of textbooks. She looked at Jack with the weary, knowing eyes of a sister who had seen this movie before. I hope, she teased, mimicking the nervous energy radiating off him. Why? Janet asked, leaning against the counter. Because it's my night, Jack said, spinning around with a flourish of his wooden spoon. And I'm going to have the world's most gorgeous girl over for dinner. Nancy Norwood. Chrissy Snow bounced into the kitchen, her blonde ponytail swinging. Oh, Jack, thank you. You're so sweet to invite us. Jack's smile faltered. Actually, Chrissy, I think we should ask you to, maybe, be somewhere else? Nancy Norwood? Janet's voice dropped an octave, losing its playfulness. Jack, you can't be serious. You know her? She's a stuck-up, conceited snob who only thinks of herself. She treats people like they're furniture. Jack turned back to his stove, his jaw set. Well, nobody's perfect, Janet. She's got qualities, high-class qualities, and I want to see if I can fit into that world, just for one night. He didn't see the look Janet and Chrissy exchanged, a mixture of pity and concern. They knew Jack's heart was a wide-open target, and Nancy Norwood was a professional marksman. Chapter 2. The Ghost in the Doorway. The knock on the door was not the sharp, confident rap of Nancy Norwood. It was a heavy, rhythmic thud, followed by a wheezing sigh that could be heard through the wood. When Janet opened the door, she didn't find a socialite. She found a man who looked like he had been assembled from parts of a life that no longer existed. He was small, his skin mapped with the wrinkles of 75 years, wearing a plaid shirt that had seen better decades, and a pair of brown socks that had lost their elasticity. Hello, the man rasped. I wonder if you could help me. Well, I'll try, Janet said, her natural empathy overriding her caution. Come in. The man shuffled into the living room, his every step a negotiation with gravity. He collapsed into the armchair near the window. I'm looking for the manager. Mr. Furley? Jack asked, stepping out of the kitchen, his apron still on. He lives downstairs, but he's out. Probably at the hardware store. Or the pet store. Oh, the man said, looking around the bright, colorful apartment with a mixture of awe and exhaustion. Do you mind if I sit? And, do you mind if I smoke? Before they could answer, he produced a crumpled pack of cigarettes. He looked at them with a strange, piercing intensity. They have the cutest little puppy in that window down the street, white and brown with spots. Big, floppy ears. He paused, his hands shaking slightly. You wouldn't have a match, would you? As Jack went to find a match, the man continued to ramble, his voice a gravelly stream of consciousness. He spoke of the puppy, of Mr. Furley's rules against dogs, of the changing world. He seemed like a man who had forgotten how to have a conversation and instead just broadcasted his thoughts into the void. Who are you? Jack finally asked, handing him a box of matches. The name is Leo. Leo Moran, the man said. He looked at Jack, and for a moment the fog in his eyes cleared. There was a sharp, biting intelligence there. And you're the boy who lives with two girls. I've heard about you. You're either a saint or a liar. I'm a chef, Jack corrected, though he felt a strange flush creep up his neck. The conversation was interrupted by the harsh reality of Leo's situation. He wasn't just a passerby. He was a refugee of the New California. His apartment building had been converted into condominiums, a word he spat out like a curse. He had no family left, no friends who weren't already crowded into tiny rooms, and no place to go. Do you have any old newspapers? Leo asked, his voice suddenly small as he prepared to leave. I could stuff them inside my shirt. They say it's not going to rain, so I'll manage. The silence that followed was heavy. Jack looked at his copper pans, his expensive wine, and the image of Nancy Norwood in his head. Then he looked at the old man who was planning his night on a park bench. Wait, Jack said, the word escaping him before he could calculate the cost. As long as you have no place to go, maybe you should spend one night here. Chrissy beamed. Janet sighed with relief. Leo Moran looked at Jack and smiled a slow, toothy grin that suggested he knew exactly what he was doing. Leo Moran never stays where he's not welcome, the old man said with a sudden, regal dignity. You're welcome, Jack whispered, wondering if he had just invited the end of his social life into his home. Chapter 3. The Night of the Shared Bed. The arrangement was, by any objective standard, a disaster. The apartment had 2 bedrooms, the girls shared one, and Jack had the other. There was a couch, but Leo, with the stubbornness of the elderly, had complained about his bad back until Jack, in a fit of misplaced chivalry, offered to share his own double bed. Is that any way to treat a guest? Leo had asked when the couch was first mentioned. Now, at 11:30 p.m., Jack was lying on the extreme edge of his own mattress, clutching the frame like a man overboard. Leo Moran occupied the other 80% of the bed, snoring with the force of a freight train. Leo, Jack hissed. Do you mind if I sleep on this side? I've slept on this side since I was a kid. Leo opened one eye. I need to be close to the bathroom, kid. At my age, the bladder is a cruel mistress. You got it? Good. Leo then proceeded to turn on the bedside lamp and pull out a tattered paperback. Leo, it's late, Jack groaned, covering his eyes. I'm tired. You're tired. I'm not tired, Leo snapped. What sort of age do you think I am? The Stone Age? No, I just meant, I'm 75, Leo said, sitting up. You think that's old? Well, you're stupid, because it is old. It's the age where you realize that sleep is just a rehearsal for the big nap, and I'm not in any hurry to practice. The argument escalated into a flurry of insults, stupid, old, stubborn, until Janet and Chrissy burst into the room to find them sitting on opposite ends of the bed like pouting toddlers. You two are acting like children, Janet scolded. Go to sleep. After the girls left, the room fell into a heavy, thoughtful silence. The moonlight filtered through the blinds, casting stripes across the quilt. Jack? Leo's voice was soft now, stripped of its defensive bark. Yeah, Leo? I'm sorry for calling you stupid. It's okay. I'm sorry for calling you old. Leo chuckled. You know, Jack, you remind me of me when I was your age, full of plans, trying to cook your way into a higher class. Yeah? Jack asked, feeling a strange kinship. Yeah. Only I was better looking, Leo said. He clicked off the light. Good night, kid. Chapter 4. The Theft of the Roses. The following morning was a blur of preparation and paranoia. Jack was obsessed with the upcoming dinner with Nancy, but Leo had other plans. He wanted to show his appreciation for the roommate's kindness. While Jack was whisking a béarnaise sauce, Leo wandered back into the apartment with a triumphant look on his face. In his arms was a massive, dripping bundle of deep red roses. Leo, Chrissy gasped. You shouldn't have. They're beautiful, and they smell like... Jack stopped whisking. He leaned in and sniffed. The scent was unmistakable. These weren't florist roses. These were the prize-winning hybrid tea roses from the garden of Ralph Furley, the landlord. Leo, where did you get these? Jack asked, his voice trembling. I picked them, Leo said proudly. A little gift. Suddenly, a thunderous pounding echoed from the front door. Furley, Jack hissed. Quick, get rid of them. Put them in the garbage disposal. No, Chrissy cried. They're too pretty to die. The next 5 minutes were a chaotic ballet of deception. As Jack opened the door to a fuming mister, Furley, who was wearing a leisure suit that looked like an explosion in a neon factory, Janet and Chrissy tried to hide Leo in the broom closet. My roses are gone, Furley shrieked, his thin mustache quivering. An old man? Jack said, his voice jumping an octave. No, sir. No old men here, just us. Young, roseless people. From inside the closet, a muffled voice began to sing. Furley froze. What was that? It's a new radio. Jack lied desperately. It only plays farm songs. Very popular in the Midwest. The tension was broken when a single red rosebud fell from the doorframe of the closet. Furley picked it up, his eyes narrowing. Is this a rose? It's a cake decoration, Jack shouted, snatching it away and shoving it into his mouth. He chewed frantically. Delicious. Needs more sugar. Once Furley was finally ushered out, Jack collapsed against the door. He looked at Leo, who had emerged from the closet, looking remarkably unbothered. Leo, Jack said, his voice low and dangerous. You have to find an apartment. Today. My date is in 4 hours, and I cannot have a rose thief roommate in the closet when Nancy Norwood walks in.